everybody, Jen here with a different kind of video. I am participating in, I guess, a Throwback Thursday, if you would, with a couple of girls from YouTube, Sarah and Hannah and Jen, I think are their names. I decided that I was going to show my very first, my very first 12 by 12 scrapbook album. I have been scrapbooking since it was September of 1998 that I started. I was in 8th grade and I had major knee surgery. So I needed something that was going to keep me busy, and I always loved to take pictures. So my mom and my godmother bought me a whole bunch of scrapbooking stuff, and it was a 8.5 by 11 wire bound kind of scrapbook that I decided that's what I started with, and I went whole hog on it, and I cannot for the life of me find it, that very first album. But this is my very first 12 by 12 album. I started it in 1999. It starts with the graduation from from elementary school, from 8th grade, and continues through the early part of college, I think, but it's kind of, I know I have other pages that go in between here, but I'm going to try to go through this quickly. It's amazing to see where I've come from 1998, 99 through the present, and I don't really say that I dislike what I've done, but it's definitely a different style. It really, it timestamps where the scrapbook pages themselves kind of date stamp where they were. You could probably not even have a date on here, and you could most likely figure out where they were, or what time period. So the way my camera's set up, it's an odd angle. It's not looking directly down on it. My album wouldn't fit underneath my tripod. So I'm going to have to kind of do a shuffle one at a time. And this album is so beat up. Like it's seen its better day. And I started in 12 by 12 postbound albums, and I have a whole bunch of those. Now I'm in 3-ring binders, and I like them a lot better. So I never did creative memories, but I had a lot of the tools. I loved the wave trimmer. I still have that, and every once in a while I'll pull it out. And I did have a Sizzix with a couple of different fonts, so you'll see that. So that's what a lot of my titles are done through. I was not a huge embellisher. I did a lot of 2-page layouts. This is the first 2-page layout. And this one, I didn't even map photos. It just cut them and rounded the corners. That was another thing. I rounded the corners all the time. Actually, maybe not as much as I thought, but I love rounded corners. You can see I cut the photos teeny tiny just so you could see the picture. Use my wave trimmer again, a couple of pinwheel embellishments, some stickers, and some epoxy. If you can see epoxy stickers here that are now completely discolored. Then this was a very, very busy layout here. This was from I went to Girl Scout camp, and so July of 99, that was the summer between middle school and high school. We went whitewater rafting, so I kind of used squares that I had hand cut myself actually, and they're not all that square, as a focal corner here, and cut my pictures down, and a whole bunch of pictures on that page. Then I've got a blank page here. Then I've got a 2-page spread. This was in high school. This was spring of my freshman year. I was the lion in The Wizard of Oz, so I found this awesome Wizard of Oz paper. I've always been a pattern paper fan. You'll see I do have a lot of cardstock only layouts coming up, but I've always been a pattern paper fan. So you can see rounded corners again, tons of pictures. This was kind of cool. I thought this was creative. This was using that paper you could sand or rip, and it was black, and then underneath was a different color, and I put chipboard letters under it, took sandpaper, and got the title that way. I thought that was awesome at the time. And then these are some more basic cloud paper. I loved using cloud paper and stickers, and all these next pages are actually from a trip out to New Mexico. I was a venture scout, and we went on a 4-week hiking trip in New Mexico and Colorado. So these are all pictures from that. We went up to the top of Pikes Peak, and this is, I think, Sizzix letters here. And I did do some journaling under my pictures, but not tons, and it's kind of sad because these are a lot of times the only copies I have. More whitewater rafting on that trip in the summer. Stickers everywhere. Decided that I was going to use a whole pack of stickers up on one single page. This one doesn't even look finished. I probably had intention of writing something here, but now it's been so long I couldn't even tell you where this was to write anything about. It's been so long. I was a big photomatter. I still sometimes photomat, but not to the extent that I used to. You'll see double or even triple mat sometimes. Stickers in squares. And then this was my first use of chipboard letters up here. And, oh, these were the funky scissors that would cut out different shapes, and so it made it look like a torn edge without tearing it. It was also perfect. So here's a double mat here, and crazy deco cardstock or pattern paper on top of plain paper. What was I thinking? And here's one of those cardstock only layouts, and the color is so bad, like you can barely read the title. More matting, random stickers just thrown here, and it's unfortunate that I didn't document more about this trip, because I was 15 or 16 at that point. No, I was even younger, 14 probably. Summer between freshman and sophomore year. I only have snippets of my memories of what we did, where we were, where any of this was. This is clearly we were on the top of a mountain somewhere, but I know Mount Phillips, but don't know what day it was, when it was. It's clearly cold. We've got hats on, and I wish I had more information documented. This was the end of that trip. More random stickers thrown all over here. I did journal here. Apparently we got stuck. Oh, we did. We got stuck in the Cincinnati airport for 16 hours. And then this moves on. I played ice hockey in high school, and this is actually one of my, I still like this page even now, and you can see that I started inking the edges here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the glare is bad in here. My lighting stinks. But I've got inked edges here, and this looks like either Cricut or Sizzix. I remember in high school I saved up so much of my money for the first time the first Cricut that came out, and the little one that only did an inch tall and up. It didn't do smaller, and I remember saving my lifeguarding money and getting a Cricut. Oh, my dogs are barking. Sorry, I'm going to pause this. I'll be back. Sorry about that, everybody. When somebody came home and the dogs heard the garage door and they went nuts. So I had to go down and greet everybody and get sucked into small talk and all of that. So anyway, that was my hockey page, and like I was saying, I actually really like this page even today. Even though the background's quite busy, I really like how it came out. And then this one here, using more of those funky scissors with the regular mat. And this was my first use ever of pop dots. Actually, they were the really thick glue dots. So, but more crazy stickers everywhere, and mixing like clear stickers versus non-clear stickers, and like a grid layout here. And this was here I got one of the Sizzix alphabets that had the shadow. Let me tell you how long this title took to cut out and then put together. It took forever. Anyway, this isn't too bad. Rounded edges with some journaling, which is good. I can tell it was October of 2003, and it was a service project for the fraternity I was a part of, and we were doing a skit, and we were doing a campfire, so that's pretty good. Like, I have a full story here. It's probably the first layout, so 2003 was the first time I did a full story on a layout. So, and then this, quite the opposite. No journaling whatsoever. This was a conclave with more funky scissors, and now I got into computer titling, computer journaling. I know in a couple layouts up here I'll have some just plain photos on cardstock with my fraternity colors. And here's using stickers, some homemade corners, and journaling on some wavy journaling templates. But I know who it is, where it was, and it was the spring of 2004. So it gives me a story, even though I'm not a fan of the page. So here's that computer journaling I was talking about. This is just printed on computer paper, I think. Yeah, it's just computer paper. And it's cut out and glued down with more crazy bowling stickers. And I remember thinking this... Ooh, sorry about the... Uh-oh. I need to move you. Sorry. I hope I don't make you sick. I thought this was pretty creative. These were letters I did myself, and I can actually see my outline that I cut out. And then I made a bowling pin for the L and used a bowling ball for sticker as the O. And then, oh, talk about the theme. This was Monopoly paper with a Monopoly 3D sticker set with pictures of playing Monopoly. Can't get any more themey than that. More computer journaling. Oh boy, this was a free cut with a story, which is good, and names around the photos, and these were using the creative memory. No, it wasn't. I can tell these are freehand. They're not even using the creative memory system. This was total freehand. You can see that it's really not a complete oval. And then this here, I was using a stencil, and I didn't even complete the letters. More computer journaling in a color that you can barely see. It's yellow, and it's actually starting, you can see the different inks in it, and it's starting to disintegrate. I need to rewrite this story, and I very rarely will redo pages, but I'm losing the journaling here, and this was very important. I was actually the freshman of the year in my college. There was only one award per grade, and I was awarded it. So the end of the year, and it came with a pretty hefty check, if I remember correctly. Yep, $500. So that was a huge deal. And these are pictures that are really, really important to me. So I probably will, especially this picture, pull this picture up and redo this page. And maybe put a copy of this original picture back on this page with the computer printout that I know cannot be good for the photo. So I can actually already see that this is starting to yellow, and this was in 2003 or spring of 2004 maybe. So that's not even all that long ago, and it's already starting to yellow. So I'll definitely pull that up. Oh, knocking over my inks. This is one of my favorite pages I've ever done, and even to this day I don't love what I did here, but I love the page. So this was the move out day of my freshman year, and my best friend and I, even to this day, we lived together our freshman year, and we took all these pictures. This was when we were cleaning and trying to pull apart the room to figure out whose stuff was whose and where it belonged in certain piles, and it was a disaster. We had stuff everywhere. You can see in here my computer is covered with stuff. You can just about see the laptop screen. It was a disaster, and I cut the pictures. I know I never would cut pictures like this nowadays, but I'm so glad I did then. I cut it in I made a template with a ruler, and then I put the template on the back, and I cut it out, and I backed it. I put the entire thing back together with space on yellow cardstock, and did the same for the two crazy messy photos. And then come over here, I did the same thing, but I did it indicating that this is how the room ended up once we were clean and we had organized it all and it was all in piles ready to go home. This was the last night I spent in my freshman dorm room. So this was, even though it's very dated, it's it's huge for me. I really like it. And I used this, my first time ever using stamps, I can see. So that was really kind of cool. So I really do like this page, and I wouldn't ever pull it apart. Now, oh, sorry about I keep hitting the tripod. I'm almost done this book. So this is using some of those those little, I used to make all those stickers, the letter stickers in different patterns, and this looks like rope, and we went out west to see, I don't know, we drove by this wild horse corral thing, and we stopped and took pictures at, and it had to be in Colorado, but no stories, so I couldn't tell you. More homemade photo corners, hand-cut designs. I did re-scrap this photo. You'll notice probably some of these photos here. These are starting to get into like my college days. I have re-scrapped a lot, or I'm going to re-scrap a lot of them. I'm not going to touch the pages and pull them apart, but I'm going to do a more recent layout that will go into a book. I do scrap chronologically, but I'll kind of pull this apart. I've been wanting to put all my albums in 3-ring binders, so I'm going to pull them all apart, and they'll go in next to these layouts, but the point of this re-scrapping them is to tell a story. So this is starting to get into a slightly more modern scrapping. This is a really nice layout. I can see myself, even though I may not use the same kind of design techniques here, I can see myself doing something like this now. This is my favorite photo of my entire college career. So, and I do have this photo reprinted out that I have planned to re-scrap it on a more updated layout. And I want to actually talk about this night instead of, this photo was taken sophomore year and it was a snapshot in time. But I do have a story to tell about this, so I am going to plan to do that. This was experimenting with, I think, 6x6 or maybe 5x5 pieces of paper and just no title. This is more of my experimenting phase here. And then I had this die cut I backed with colored cardstock. This was more of a simple layout. Used ribbon, it looks like, for one of the first times. This was more die cut, and I can't even spell Cinderella. This is actually a picture I did recently just re-scrap, and it was, I think, my Own the Night layout or something like that. Just recently I did it. So this will go side by side with my newly done layout. And this isn't even cardstock. This is like one of those papers out of like a pattern paper, and it's all bubbled up. And these are more photos I'm going to re-scrap, but this was the summer of 2006 with some of my friends, and this was kind of cool. I experimented trying to make a beach scene with just random letters thrown here, and the sand and the water and the sky with the sun. And then some more geometric shapes with a stencil for letters. I loved this stencil. I used it for tons of stuff, not just scrapbooking. I used it quite a bit. I had a whole bunch of fun stencils. And here it is again, same stencil side by side. This is, I hand cut the marshmallow sticks, and I used a die cut fire, and you know, the tree die cuts, and these look like log die cuts for photo corners. And then Wild West paper, a game of horseshoes, more of these letters in the shape of ropes. And then this was, I thought, was kind of fun, using the negative space of the Sizzix. I cut around this, trimming our tree. These are more photos I'm going to redo. I remember this little reindeer. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think so. That little reindeer, it might be sideways for you. I hoarded and hoarded and hoarded. I thought it was the cutest thing. I must have kept this reindeer for two or 3 years before I finally put it on a layout, and we laughed and laughed because the two girls behind myself and my friend Jordan, they were giving us reindeer ears, and none of them are even by our head, and we laughed and laughed after we saw this picture, and it was our antlers got run over by a reindeer, and it's so silly, but that's what college was about. Just enjoying each other. And we dressed up one of my friends as a Christmas tree with a star, and oh God, I had so many fun times in college. And then this is, oh, I'm so sorry about the tripod. And then this is my last layout in this album. This had to be Christmas of 2006. We went to school in Connecticut, and so we were only a train ride away from New York City. So every year we'd go to New York City, but you can see that like random embellishments, and it's totally not the same style now, but good nonetheless. There's probably only a couple of layouts in this album that I can honestly say, what was I thinking? I know a lot of people, when they do these shares, they kind of say, oh my God, what was I thinking? And I don't feel like I have very many of those pages. I think what I did was great for the time frame and my age. I mean, I started this, you know, I did this page when I was 13. I mean, I'll be 30 next month, and I mean, it's really, I've come very far, but I've learned so much in this time, but I don't think these pages are too bad for a 13-year-old. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, this was really fun. Thank you. I think it was Jen Shao. I don't know if that's how I say your name, but you're the one that suggested it and really enjoyed it, and thanks for bringing it up, and I'm glad you let me play along. All right, I will see you in my next process video. Bye.